Jim Hicks, Rob Hatter. You are now tuned in to the Chop Shop. I'm Retro. Let's get it. We in the Chop Shop. We live in the Chop Shop. We talking sports talk. We live in the Chop Shop. We in the Chop Shop. I'm talking sports talk. So turn your dials up. It's live in the Chop Shop. We in the Chop Shop. We live in the Chop Shop. We talking sports talk. We live in the Chop Shop. We in the Chop Shop. I'm talking sports talk. So turn your dials up. It's live in the Chop Shop. Yeah, it's lit in the Chop Shop. Turn your dials up in the drop top. They ain't based in debate, but they keep it fact straight. Going 30 for 30. Let's do a first take on Facebook Live from 12 to 2. Rob Hatter and Jim Hicks going back and forth like Carter Ray and Skip Bayless and Stephen Smith. From on the court, off the court, straight to the field. Not a man that steals, but I made it steal. To the octagon where I fight to kill. We go face to face, then you write your will. I don't play tennis, but I bring the racket. I'm on the floor, I attack the basket. Put you in the casket when I'm overlapping. Never showing mercy, cause I'm always snapping. Never showing mercy when I'm in the arena. Step into the ring, you see me as I beat him. Step into the court, I'm never backing down. Killing competition, I'm smacking down. Let me get back to the other stuff at the Chop Shop, cause they cutting up. It's Retro coming to you live to the Chop Shop. Now let's turn it up. Yeah, we in the Chop Shop, man. Shout out to Jim Hicks and Rob Hatter. You can catch the Chop Shop live from 12 to 2 on Facebook Live. Let's get it. We in the Chop Shop. We live in the Chop Shop. We talking sports talk. We live in the Chop Shop. We in the Chop Shop. I'm talking sports talk. So turn your dials up. It's live in the Chop Shop. We in the Chop Shop. We live in the Chop Shop. We talking sports talk. We live in the Chop Shop. We in the Chop Shop. I'm talking sports talk. So turn your dials up. It's live in the Chop Shop.
H-Town, what's up? You know what time it is. It's time for the best 120 minutes of your day. The Chop Shop, the nation's #1 urban sports talk show, and also your midday sports happy hour. Yours truly, Robert Hatter, alongside Jim Hicks, the legend, the basketball, high school basketball guru is in the building, coming to you live from Houston, Texas. But we're broadcasting all over the world via YouTube Live and Facebook Live. And guess what? It's Women Rock Wednesday. I was waiting to see the amount of women that showed up on the show today. I got Jessica Brooks. I got Mindy Collins, the Tyandra Holmes. Where the women at, Jimmy? Where are y'all today? And it's your day. We got a special day for the young ladies. But before we go there, Jimmy, and everybody, after last night, the NBA is working feverishly to save their season. The big question is, do the players want to play? And will baseball be back? One voice says opportunity for the sport cannot pass up. Then, Jimmy, 2 of America's 3 most popular professional sports are making huge moves towards return. And Jimmy, your homeboy, Mark Emmert, he said that the NCAA will not mandate a uniform return to college sports. He's going to leave that decision when it start playing up until the school officials and the university presidents. And then I looked again, Jimmy. Guess what's going on? One state said they open for business, Arizona. Then another state said it's about 20, who got 23 colleges in it, said we're not going on campus at all.
Division One.
Huh? Yeah.
23 Division 1.
23 Division 1 college. And it's just crazy. Jimmy, to me, we all over the place, just like our leadership is just all over the place. And I thought about the NBA. I think they trying to be the pace car for a lot of this because they were a big part of things shutting down. Yesterday, Adam Silver got a call, Jimmy, from the Board of Governors. If you don't know what the Board of Governors is, it's all the owners or their acting speakers for the owner that day. If the owner can't make it, certain guys are the Board of Governors. It's the owners. The Board of Governors are always the guys who own the team. And Jimmy, I heard word there's a little momentum But I will say, instead of momentum, I would say just movement. Because I'm not sure where this goes yet. Momentum and movement is two different things. So, so in a nutshell, everything that went on yesterday is leading us up to some sort of comeback. Maybe the NBA is, thinking about coming back, some kind of scenario for them to come back. What else you got, man?
I mean, speaking of the Arizona thing, I mean, first of all, if you didn't see it before, if you reserve your judgment for Mark Emmert, NCAA, it's seeping out of every pore on his body right now to see just how weak he is and just how much he know that he cannot win on his name, image, likeness in regards to these schools. Understand what he said, that he basically left the door open for some of the schools to start and some may not start. Mind you, some of these schools that may not start have contracts or have games with some of the schools that may possibly very well start. And mind you, California was the first state that mentioned that about the name, image, likeness, which the NCAA is expected to actually vote on before the end of this month. Think about this. California already said in January, all of our student athletes will be able to capitalize on their name, image, likeness. If you play in this state, at any school in this state, you'll be able to capitalize on it. Well, the NCAA and California are still on a crash course. I spoke with two college coaches yesterday evening about this very topic, once the news had broke about the California stuff, when the governor then mentioned, and repeating what Heather said a while ago, that none of their schools, none of their 23 Division I schools, none of their schools, period, will operate in person during the fall semester. That's huge, because this comes only a few days after Mark Emmert issued a statement saying that basically football will likely not take place unless physical student athletes, or students, that is, are in classrooms, not at a full capacity, but in some form, shape, or form. Guess what? That ain't happening. So what is going to happen? What is going to happen? This is a train wreck waiting to happen, and you can see the power struggle. Congress is the only thing that can save the NCAA. And they will, and understand, you're in the middle of an election year. That means the leverage for the NCAA is not on their side. It is unbelievable. I'm laughing all the way on the inside on this stuff. And I see Anissa and Sonia Billings just joined us in the Boom Boom Room. Women Rock Wednesday is indeed in full effect right now. And how to tell you what it was this morning. I went and stopped by and supported the efforts of Mark Erebor and the Erebor family who owns the MI3 Center. They had a private workout this morning. Private workout.
What's the private workout?
Extra Eyes Media. Extra Eyes Media was in the house.
What you mean by private workout?
A private workout meaning that you had to get an invite to even come and work out in this. It wasn't for every college. It's for college players, and it was about maybe one or two high school prospects there. But they had the sanitizing efforts just to kind of, they had to sanitize, you had to check in, sign away, and they took everybody's temperature at the MI3 Center before they came in the building.
I sure hope they took yours.
They took mine. I'm a 97. I was radio station. Okay. 97.9. That's what I was. And so, but anyway, so I want to get shout out to efforts. Quentin Grimes is over there. Doc Nelson.
Okay.
Had about a dozen and a half, a little bit over players getting in, but it was controlled on how the movements were going. I want to give a shout out to them. That's kind of
running the workout. Who was running the workout?
Mark Erebor Jr.
Oh, he was no. He was the actual trainer that was.
Well, it wasn't the trainer, just was controlling the market. I mean that
Who was the
they
trainer?
played like
Who was the guy, the trainer? The guy.
this wasn't a training session. This
Okay.
wasn't no training session.
Okay.
So
So who was directing the guys to what they were doing?
Mark Erebor Jr.
Okay, he was directing the guys.
He was coordinating everything.
Okay, that's what I'm just trying to figure it out.
I mean, like let's say for example the first game, nobody.
Oh, they were playing. Oh no, forget about it. They were playing. Okay, it wasn't a workout. Okay, I got you.
Yeah, no workout.
I thought it was a workout.
But
I got you.
The thing about it is that in certain instances, that certain players they couldn't like in some games you couldn't score unless you scored on off a pick and roll or a pick and pop or inbound.
Situations. They had situations.
Oh, you couldn't. It don't even count.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying? But anyway, that's so shout out and applaud their efforts because that thing is going to be every Wednesday throughout the rest of the summer, and it's a good opportunity for a lot of the college guys to get some work in against their former peers. So if you're interested, go and contact the MI3 Center. The contact info is on their website, and you can possibly get an invite to come in. You don't have an invite. You don't have a VIP thing they will send for media or anything. You're not getting in that building.
Yeah.
So that's the cool thing about it. But anyway, as promised, Women Rock Wednesday. I see, hey, Ashley, and of course Trina Williams Mouton is in there with us. I see old school Charles Flim up in there. But let me tell you something. Today is very special to us on the Chop Shop. Very special because of the fact that along the road, these shows were not able to be produced and put together alone. You understand? We've came and climbed various hills and mountains en route to getting where we are. 3 different radio stations, AM, FM. Then transfer them on and incorporated the Facebook Live. Then the YouTube in unison. But one thing about it, every summer we went and extended out of the past 3 or 4 summers and got interns. And we started out with 2 interns that were males, but this day we only dealing with the female interns that came through the Chop Shop. And we have 4 young ladies that you guys will get a chance to learn and know a little better this afternoon. All 4 of them are doing it very well as far as their footprints and their journey. And this is the great thing. Our first is going to join us right now. And this young lady right here, she was a tennis star and in college. Came home one summer, came over and did an internship with us. And I said, Helen, we better enjoy this while we got her. Cause she doing so much. She gonna be gone. They gonna scoop up. And sure enough, she ended up doing an internship with ESPN. And now she's with one of the television stations down in, I want to say, is it Mississippi, Helen?
Louisiana.
Louisiana. And this, without further ado, guys, we want to introduce to you Nicole Hutchinson. Nicole,
hey,
sorry, I missed the state.
Hold on, Jimmy, hold up. She was trying to make her grand entrance by being off the camera, Jimmy, right? Hold on, Jimmy. Yeah. But she didn't realize I had her off in the dressing room, and we have the capability to have you off in the dress. The general public could see you. Now they see you now.
All the time, okay? He said,
were doing what?
I said, okay, you know what? I can't be late. I had to be on time.
She would look like she was hiding, Jimmy. She would bend down like that, like she was hiding.
Yeah, but I mean, she's Hollywood. Nicole, welcome and great. Now tell us where are you working now? Let's read the book backwards with you. What are you doing now after attaining, and where did you get the degree from? When? What you majored in? And just share that part with us first, Mom.
Yeah, I graduated from Howard in May 2019, so just like a year ago, pretty much. My major was broadcast journalism, minor in sports management, but I always wanted to be a sports reporter. Well, technically, I wanted to be just on TV, but then when I got to college, I was like, I really think I can go far with sports reporting since I grew up around sports. My dad played, in the NFL, so it was kind of like second nature. So I'm working in Alexandria as a sports reporter and anchor. We get to cover LSU, so we were there throughout their whole journey, going to the national championships. We cover high school sports, of course, and then we get to cover the Saints. So we've been to the Saints games. So it's really fun. I love it. I'm just trying to see how far I can go. Hopefully, like Fox Sports, ESPN. That'd be great.
And what's the TV station?
KLB News Channel 5.
And go on, Haddle.
No. I was just telling her, I heard she said Fox, and I see you there. You know what's so unique about her? And I remember her when she went off, and she was at Howard, and she was the ESPN. Could you tell us about your ESPN? She had some kind of deal with ESPN, where instead of ESPN having to come to the campus, you reported from Howard for them. Could you explain to the young people or the parents out there, what was going on in that situation?
Yeah, so obviously ESPN's in Bristol, Connecticut, so there's no way I would have been able to miss out on school, So they have this thing where it's called like ESPN Campus Connection, so you can be a reporter from your school. You just have to send unique stories. Like I did homecoming stories because not everybody knows about Howard homecoming. So like I sent stuff like that, and then we had Kayla Newton. Why not interview Cam Newton's younger brother when he's right there in your at your school? So just little stuff like that. They even have it for like the Big Ten Network, and then HBCU has HBCU Game Day. So just little stuff like that. You just have to kind of take advantage of.
And so now, how did you take us through the journey? Your big break of getting this job in Alexandria. How did that take place?
Ooh. So obviously, like it's really hard to get jobs in this industry, especially when you graduate. So when I graduated, I worked at MLB Network. So that was the first job I got, and I was there for like a month. And then I was like, all right, Nicole, you need to get on TV. So I started applying, sending my reel to every station, and so I got 4 offers, and I ended up taking this one. In Louisiana, because it's right there down the street from Houston. I can drive home whenever I want to, things like that.
And that is, of course, KALB in Alexandria. And you're in the sports anchor at the station now, right? Mm-hmm. And so now, what's next for Nicole?
So, my contract technically isn't up until it's like September 2021. So just depending on how the football season goes, I wanted to really obviously stay here a year and then, get like everything I needed to get as far as knowledge wise. And then, who knows, after basketball season, I may leave. Like I'll start applying closer to when my contract ends. And I want to go somewhere in Atlanta, or, even come back home to Houston, North Carolina. I see myself jumping to like a top 50 market. So, Kelsey Wingert went, network right after she left the station. So she covered the Braves, Atlanta Braves. So, yeah, I definitely see myself doing that.
And of course, now taking back, as people just tune in, this is Nicole Hutchinson. Yeah. And she worked as an intern with the Chop Shop and graced us with her presence en route to her short early journey in her career.
And
now,
Jimmy, on her way to tennis practice, she used to show up with her tennis skirt on and everything, y'all. On her way, we was just a stop. But you know what, though? And Jimmy and I, we saw it. I said, Jimmy said, well, Robert, I said, dude, she going somewhere, Doc. And it was just so funny. But you know what's so unique about Nicole? I think we kind of not stole her from somebody, but I think she it was another person on our network, on our radio station that year, Miss Nettie Jones. And I think she came up there. She was supposed to be interning for Nettie Jones, and I kind of poached on it a little bit. I kind of called her, said, hold up, Nicole, hold up. I know I've been knowing you since you was a baby. But I get she has too. Nettie has too. But guess what? It was so unique. Nettie's show was nothing like ours. Our show was a sports show. She's a sports anchor now. So she happened to choose and want to work with the Chop Shop for that short time. And we just thank you. We just thank you so much. We brag about you all the time. Brag about all of y'all. And that's when we came up with this concept. And Jimmy said, "Man, we got to bring our girls back." And I don't know if you saw my post today. It was just talking about the young ladies who helped this show become what it is. This show was not always done like this. This show, we can tell stories where this show, we can go way back. Y'all don't go back that far, but this show has had a steady progression of getting better and better. And Nicole, I don't know if you noticed, during the pandemic, we were so used to streaming. Mm-hmm. We never skipped a beat. The network televisions, they had problems. Stephen A. Smith, up until yesterday, Max Kellerman couldn't even, his mic wouldn't work, his sound wouldn't work. I mean, this network TV, they have to do the same thing similar to what we're doing. And that's when I be laughing at people when they say we make a mistake. Doing streaming, when you're doing stuff live, things can happen. Nicole, you can attest to this. When you're doing a show live, it's not going to be perfect, ladies and gentlemen. So understand the liveness and the rawness and the authentic, being authentic is what make live streaming better. What you say about that, Nicole?
Yeah, no, I can agree because I see all these FaceTime not FaceTime, Instagram lives and like FaceTime interviews now, and everybody's like, oh, okay, maybe I should join in on that. Like I know even some of my friends who are like in local stations, starting off, they do Instagram lives. Like I was on Instagram live with one of my friends, so it's just crazy how people are starting to go digital because it's like, dang, we can't do no network TV right now because we ain't got no sports.
So, and speaking of that, how does that work with your job? Do you still have responsibilities with your job?
I'm literally working right now as we speak. So I do FaceTime interviews and then I edit them, cut them, send them back. But I write the scripts for what I want the anchors to say, things like that, because they have, 3 main anchors who, just stay there in the station because they don't want everybody in the station.
Gotcha.
Because, social distancing. So it's literally like maybe, 2 producers at the station and like 3 anchors and our general manager and our news director. So, me and my co-anchor for sports, we work from home. All the other news reporters work from home. We just send our stuff back and, call people for interviews and things like that.
Awesome.
Now, of course, if you have any questions for Nicole, feel free to post them in the Boom Boom Room, either on the Facebook feed or the YouTube feed, which we're streaming live right now. And we're going to invite you guys to share the show if you haven't done so. Share it with your timelines, with your friends, in your groups, because there is probably a young person out there who are a parent who may be inspired by not just Nicole, but the whole quartet of young ladies that would join us today. So once again, Nicole, now tell us what high school you went to and how did you end up at Howard?
Good old Lamar High School. Woo. Yeah, I went to Lamar, and then my mom was like, so what she did was elementary school, I went to like all, Caucasian school. Middle school, I went to all black school. I went to Johnson Middle School, all neighborhood kids went there. Then she sent me to Lamar. She was like, oh no, baby, you got to go to HBCU. So I applied. I honestly applied to 25 schools, got into all of those schools. But then when she was like, you know what? You should go to Howard. I'm like, okay. So, the coach recruited me and gave me a full scholarship for tennis. So I was like, all right, cool. Let's try it. But I honestly, it was like the best decision of my life. So I push HBCUs all the time because if I would have went to a PWI, I would have been in a big pond as a small fish in a big pond. And it just, HBCUs give you that experience that you need. In my opinion, I feel like so.
That's good.
Yep.
So how were you able to juggle the time? You were playing tennis in college, and then you got into and just engulfed yourself into the sport, the sports sports reporting and communications, the journalism inside of the fence. How were you able to juggle that? Because when we saw you, I mean, you were waking up. I mean, tennis practice, coming to work, intern, tennis practice, coming. I mean, where did that come from? The drive.
It's just, I don't know. It just was in me because I, like, at school, I was, wake up, we had a weight room, and then classes, practice, then I would just be like, all right, bye, coach, I'm going to my internship. And he'd be like, okay. So, I mean, he knew from, like, my freshman year what I wanted to do because we had that relationship. So he was understanding, okay, like, Nicole, as long as she, I know she's going to get her work in for practice. So, like, even my junior year, there was a point where I missed out on practice with the team at night. I would just come in early and work out, practice for 2 hours, go to classes, and then I went to my internship at NBC Sports. So it was just like, as long as if you play a sport, your coaches trust that you'll get the work in, it doesn't matter. I mean, but if you want it, you just got to go get it.
And you know what? One of the most highlights of my time watching you is when I saw you tell the story of how you interviewed LeBron James. I still got that video. That video is still on your social media. But that was what when I saw that, I said, you looked a little nervous, but I said, Nicole got up in there and did that thing. So tell people about that.
I was home for Christmas break, and my internship, because I was interning with the Wizards, and so my boss had called me, and they were like, hey, like, we're playing the Lakers. You want to come up here? Because I can get you, inside the locker room. You're just going to have to go in there and, ask some questions. And I was like, man, okay, cool. So my dad paid for me a flight to go up there, and I stayed on campus, even though it was closed, but they let me stay anyway. And, I went to the game. I was in the, in the locker room, the media scramble, and I was, like, so overwhelmed because I'm like, oh, my goodness, like, what the heck? There's so many people. So then, I got there and I was just waiting for my turn. Next thing you know, I said LeBron, but it was like me and 3 other people saying LeBron. And he looks at me and I'm like, oh crap, Nikki, what was your question? And then I just asked it, but it was scary at first, but I was like, you know what? Got this.
What did you ask LeBron?
You remember?
Dang, did I ask him? I don't even remember. That's a great question. I don't even remember what I asked him, but I just know someone else, another media outlet used my quote that I asked him. And I forgot what question. I have it on my Instagram.
Yeah, I saw it. I don't
so
remember.
they gave you, they scooped you. They gave you
my quote into like their article. So I was like, okay.
I mean, that is awesome. We have some questions in the Boom Boom Room for you from a lot of our viewers. And Hal, you can go.
No, what's so funny, Todd Holmes, you can tell he's been listening to the show a lot, right? Because he said, I'm surprised Hannah didn't tell her to talk about her party. She's already talked about her party already, Todd Holmes. But maybe for the people, hold on, thank you, Todd, for the people who wasn't on Facebook then. And by the way, Nicole, we got a lot of friends on Facebook, but we're trying to convert them into subscribers on YouTube, okay? A lot of friends, but one's trying to convert. So this is a good time, y'all. Nicole, tell them she had this unique birthday party that I happened to be, and I forgot where I was. It was somewhere that I had to be, and I couldn't make it back. Tell people about your party.
Both of y'all, and y'all didn't come.
I know it. Hey, I was out of town. I told you. I know. I was so mad. Nicole, tell us about the party.
Nicole, you wasn't 21 yet. I couldn't come to no party. You wasn't 21.
It was all my family friends.
Oh, man, shoot. It was grown. That was a grown folk party.
It was a grown people party.
They ain't tell me that. I thought Hannah told me I wasn't going to go around there. You want to do me like that. Like I'm a dirty old man.
Wait till she tell you
dirty
was
old
there.
Man like that.
Tell them what happened.
Yeah, so at first I wasn't even supposed. I didn't want a party, honestly. But my dad was like, "Man, I'm about to throw you a party." I'm like, "Okay, cool." So I got there. He had Travis Scott perform. He had Deshaun Watson there, PJ Tucker, Enos Cabell, there for me to interview all of them. And so he didn't tell me that till I got to the party. And keep in mind, it was an open bar, okay?
Yeah.
So
Jimmy.
I was already a few drinks in, but that's besides the point. So, he was like, oh, yeah, I hope you got some questions because you about to do some interviews since that's what you want to do. I said, oh, okay. He ain't said nothing but a word. I got on that stage. He had me on the stage interviewing them live, like, off the bat. And so I was like, everybody was like, did you really just go off the dome? Like, you didn't know this? I'm like, no, I didn't know what he was going to do. He just told me this as soon as I walked in. So it was so much fun. Like, all my friends came, all my family came, so it was great.
Travis Scott showing up at your party. Now, what'd you say, Jim?
Now, we got some of these questions to get in. We only got about 6
minutes
left. And that is, one is, you mentioned you had about 3 or 4 offers before Howard. Somebody asked, what were your other schools?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Well, so academically, I got into 25 schools, and I had academic scholarships. Mm-hmm. For like tennis, it was a school in Pennsylvania. It was like a smaller school, still D1, but honestly, it wasn't memorable. But yeah, like every other school I got into was like LSU. LSU, obviously Howard. I got into Spelman. Lord, dang. So long ago. I don't remember, but it was a lot of schools because my mom was so mad that I used her credit card to pay that application fee, but that don't matter. But yeah, a lot of schools, but I'm glad that, honestly, like whoever asked that question, go to an HBCU, send your kids to HBCUs. They're the best option.
Indeed. Now, Rick asked, do you inspire one day to pull a Shanae Iwumake and be a sports analyst on their TV platform?
She already said she wanted to be.
Well, I know, but that person came in afterwards.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I mean, like, I honestly, so Maria Taylor, she started off as like a SEC Snapchat reporter host. So, so she used to do like, hosting on Snapchat. So like any digital platform, any platform that I could start off, like next, if I get, an offer for the ACC network doing, Instagram or something, I would take it. I mean, because that's how you get your name out there. That's how you get more experience. So as long as, anything, honestly, I would take. So.
And by the way, y'all, Maria Taylor is one of the big guns in that industry right now. That young lady that's the young lady that, what's his name? The coach from Alabama, Nick Saban, kind of upstage and talked a little bit stern to, and they got on his butt about. And Nicole, something like that. We got to know questions on how do you handle stuff like that? Because Maria, don't you know you might be in that position one day that you got to handle one of these narcissistic men that's in this industry?
Yeah, I mean, I haven't had to experience any of that at like where I'm at now, but I feel like I would probably handle it the same way she did. I mean, it is what it is. Coaches are gonna say what they want to say. People are gonna say what they want to say, but Maria Taylor, excuse my language, knows her shit. Yeah. So therefore, they can't say that. They can't ever say that she doesn't or whatever the case may be. But I'm just trying to make sure that I'm on that level to where y'all can't tell me nothing. If you try, you're gonna look stupid, not me. So.
Say it with your chest. Say it with your chest. Now, I want to ask you. Somebody else asked, do you have a personal podcast, and how do you feel about podcasting? Now, I do know in college, I remember one day Alice sent me the thing, and it was called Hutch in the Clutch. Explain how that came about, and why you don't still do it.
Oh yeah, no, I still do it actually. So I started off in college as like a class assignment because my teacher was like, guys, y'all better make y'all's own platforms because that's how you make yourself more marketable. So I'm like, okay. Hutchison. And my dad actually helped me come up with Hutch in the Clutch. So I'm like, oh, cool. So I ran away with it. At first in college, I was interviewing like, top professional athletes. So I was talking to like Tariq Cohen. I interviewed Holton. He's actually one of my good friends. Holton Hill, who plays for the Vikings. I think De'Aaron Fox, like a lot of people that I talked to just to kind of like talk about their season and stuff like that. But now I actually have it air on Wednesdays at my station. So it's like a segment just interviewing like all the athletes around the area of Louisiana. So it could be high school, college, whoever. And I just, do something fun. So like for one, we have an LSU commit. He's a defensive tackle. And I did food tasting with him because he loves food. So like I make it to where it's more so like a segment where people get to know the real athletes rather than them on the football field, because we talk to them all the time about their sport, So, yeah.
Awesome.
So lastly, what advice do you have for the aspiring high school or collegiate student who wants to get where you are right now and beyond? What do you give us some advice?
I would just say work. Like it's a hustle. You just got to take what you can get. Your freshman, sophomore year in college, you're going to take jobs where you're not going to get paid. So you just have to be humble about it and just go with the flow. But as long as you're getting experience, the more opportunities you'll get to be able to have a job as soon as possible when you graduate, So I would just say the grind, just keep grinding.
Wow, man. And that was awesome, man. Howard, what you got?
Hutch was in the clutch. That was good. That's all I got for. And all I want to do just
how they can watch you because on your broadcast at the TV station KALB in Alexandria, Louisiana, you're a sports anchor there. Do your broadcasts or they stream while you're on the air? So
we have.
They want to check some of your stuff out.
Yeah, we have live streaming. So like I said, they have main anchors. So we send our stuff back now because of the COVID-19 stuff. So the news anchors read our sports stuff. But when we go back, it'll be me and Fitz, my co-anchor. So, yep.
I got a quick one for you. Who is your dream interview? Barack Obama? No, I'm just kidding. He's not sports.
That's a good question. No. I would have said Maria Taylor, but I talked to her at the national championships.
No, it's got to be somebody better than that. I mean, excuse me, bigger than that.
Good question. Honestly,
she's in your industry. Find somebody you want to interview, like you did LeBron.
I would talk to Serena Williams.
Okay, I like that.
I would talk to Serena or Steph Curry, honestly. Those are like.
Girl, you got something in common. I like them. I like them too.
Oh, look at
They're my two. my nephew, and I got Nicole. Remind me if you want me to hook that up. I might be able to make them. That might be able to make them two work for you.
Okay.
Yeah, them two there might be. Rob might be able to hook them two up for you. But Jimmy, but Jimmy, we can. How we want to end this? Cause Sierra's up next.
We appreciate it, and you sharing your journey with the viewers, and a lot of people are able now to put the name with the face. As you can tell, a lot of the viewers remember you from your tenure with us at 102.5 FM at and at Amazing. A couple of years ago, we are definitely proud of you, and once again, you keep on keeping on, and we are going to keep on supporting you every step of the way. You got to come back and join us later on when you get to that next lap in the track of your long expected sports career. Okay.
I will. Thank y'all so much. I miss y'all, man.
We miss you.
Hey. That's what I'm talking about. Women Rock Wednesday, baby. It's on now.
And tell your mama say hi and happy Mother's Day. I posted it for her, but tell her happy Mother's Day. All right?
I would. Thank you.
All right. Talk to you later. Hit that red button. Hit the red button.
That is Nicole Hutchinson. She's a Lamar high school graduate as well as Howard University, when she's now a sports anchor in Alexandria, Louisiana at KALB down there. And that's the CBS affiliate in Alexandria. And so Jesse, it seemed like yesterday when she was in the studio with us and helping us, getting different things done and doing intern type stuff. I mean, and now, look at it now. So coming up, of course, next, we're going to be joined by another one of our interns. And right on cue. Who we got there? Hannah? Right on cue.
Hey,
we got two.
We got two. We got 2 for 1 about to join us.
Yes, we have a young lady. I mean, she's done a fantastic job in life, and this conversation now is going to be really probably touching because of the fact that in life, she covered the family. She did an internship with us at the radio station. She was doing an internship, working a part-time job, and a full-time student at the same time. This young lady here, that shows you the grind. And now with us nickname, you guys probably remember her or remember us talking to her off the sidebar as Cece. Well, this is Mrs. Sierra Henry is joining us, and she's as a guest. How's it going? And
no, Jimmy. One thing you didn't say. This is where I will forever be in her good graces. Ever sponsorship, and said, "Look here, I got these dudes over here. This." And she brought us back a
mini me. I didn't fully go all the way back to ESPN radio. I kind of went back. We got a little basketball player here, and we just.
Nicole, we'll go from the beginning with you. Tell the viewers, of course, what high school did you graduate?
Houston. I graduated with my degree in communications, broadcast journalism for AT&T Sportsnet. I worked for them doing sideline reporting. That was pretty fun, pretty great. So then I went back to school to get my master's at Texas Southern. I just felt like, as a Black woman in this industry, you kind of always still want to have the one up. So I thought that, me going back and getting that extra credential in Texas. We produce a lot of great athletes in East Texas. So, Adrian, pretty good guy.
And so now your decision to go to U of H, how did that transpire? I mean, you're in Palestine. I mean, you got Dallas this way, Houston that way. What inspired University of Houston?
Man, I went through so much of what you want to do. So first, I went to Colorado to play basketball, way out in the middle in Colorado Springs. I got finished up there. And while I was at TJC, I had a lot of teammates that were from Houston. And I would go to Houston with them. And I just fell in love with Houston, actually. So then I started looking at, what school I may want to go to and transfer there. So U of H became my choice. They had a good broadcast program, and I knew from being at TJC that that's what I wanted to go into. I knew I wasn't going to play basketball for the rest of my life, so I started thinking, okay, what can I do to stay with sports, and still go to work and be happy every day? Because I will quit a job in a minute. My people, I worked like it was just, if I'm not happy doing it, I know I won't stay. So that led to my decision to come to U of H and pursue that degree.
I don't blame
you. Now, of course, your time, and also in Houston, you went and covered the No Excuses Pro-Am League, and down at the Fundy Recreation Center, where you got a chance to interact and, I guess, keep the candle burning with a lot of the professional basketball players. Tell us about that experience and what inspired that.
Man, I can't even remember how I came across the Fundy, but however that did happen, I was very thankful. When I came in, they wanted reporters, and Nicole and myself were there, and we were just like, okay, you know, let's hit the ground running. Let's make this our thing. And so that's what we did. I mean, I still have relationships with those people now, and it helps me now because of the documentary I'm doing, the book I'm writing. I have a lot of, you know, people that can, even you guys, you know I can always reach out to you and be like, hey, so it's good for networking. And I think a lot of people may think like, oh, well, sometimes if I'm not getting paid for something, I don't want to waste my time doing it. But those relationships are priceless. You know what I'm saying? And so that's what I would tell like a lot of people who are, you know, trying to do this. Like, you can't always, some big corporations, yes, they pay their interns, you know, but I was glad that I had fun. I enjoyed being there. It allowed me the opportunity to make mistakes, you know what I'm saying, and learn from them without being like scrutinized. So, you know, I loved it. I loved it there. I don't know what they're doing now with that, but yeah.
I'm sorry. Casey Williams and his wife Jillian, they run still running the Pro-Am and the No Excuses Pro League now. That's what they call it. And Jimmy, and you know, during this pandemic, it might be the pushback or whatever. This pandemic is affecting everybody. So what have you been doing, and how has it impacted what you were doing? And do you have a name for your book or your documentary, or do you have a name for it?
So I do have a name for my book. It's called Sports. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
It's called Sports Bay. It's basically explaining sports to women who don't know anything about sports, but from a lady's point of view. Like, sometimes I hear a lot that girls ask their boyfriends or whatever, like, they ask them to explain something about a sport and they give them this definition and they still don't get it. Okay. So the book is it's just doing football and basketball first. Mm-hmm. And so you're done writing that. But the documentary is super interesting because at first the documentary was about Black athletes attending HBCUs over PWIs. Mm. So as I'm nearing my calendar of interviewees, here comes the pandemic, right? So now I'm not able to really finish it. So, but they did inspire. So I've changed the documentary to now it's about sports and how the pandemic affected sports. Mm. So that's been like, I mean, it's so easy to do my interviews now because we have stuff like this, Zoom and everything else. So like I've been knocking my interviews out like, you know, 3 or 4 a week, and it's pretty convenient. So a lot of the guys and the ladies, Nicole is on there too, because I also want to get the what the sports reporters and agents, coaches, everybody's going through it right now. So she's on there as well, and she was explaining how, you know, how her work from home is. So that's going to be really fun. It should be done by I haven't really came up with a name for the documentary, but it will be something like, you know, sports in the coronavirus, you know, something like that, because it really affected a lot of people, especially guys that are going to the draft. Like I have a few guys that had to sit at home and do the draft. They may have been in the first round, but now everybody's at home. So it was like nobody was special, you know, in a sense this year. Everybody was at home. So yeah, that's where we're going with that.
Now, questions we have from the Boom Boom Room, and you guys, if you're watching and understand, Ciara Henry is her name, and she's a former intern for the Chop Shop. That's our connection with her, amongst other things. And you missed and just tuned in. Don't forget, you can go back and watch the entire show after only minutes after we're off the air. So go back, watch the beginning. Now, one of the questions that somebody just logged in, Sonia asked you, did you actually play basketball in college, specifically at U of H?
No, not at U of H. I played basketball at TJC and the University of Colorado. Wow. So when I came to U of H, I was like, you know, I'm done with basketball. I was ready to pursue, you know, my communications degree and intern and stuff like that. So no, I didn't play at U of H.
And so now, lastly, what was the moment that took basketball out of your focus, out of your heart? What happened?
I've met a lot of people, as Dorian probably could tell you, because me and Dorian were, we became really close. It's hard to get internships and, try to pursue a career and play basketball. And so for me, I decided, that's not, I wanted to go the career. I really was kind of tired of not being able to live a regular life. And I knew like I wasn't gonna go overseas and play basketball. I wasn't gonna go to the WNBA. So it was like, I need to make that decision to do what's right for me. And so I think I made the right decision as far as that. I still love basketball. I worked in the athletics department at U of H. I interned there. So that's how, I was very close with the basketball players, the football team, the coaches. So I have that relationship with them because I worked with them. I just didn't play.
Wow.
Awesome. And so lastly, what advice do you have for the person out there or people out there who are watching who, you may have inspired somebody. Because understand something, you're still on track. You're still on the path. And you quit a lot of things. You haven't quit this, you're writing a book. You haven't quit the pursuit of your sports career. What advice do you have? And also what's next for Ciara Henry?
The advice that I would give is never quit. When I did get pregnant, I was working for AT&T. And I was just very confused. And of course, I wanted to have a family, but I was still like, this is in the middle of my, career. What am I supposed to do? So after having her, it was kind of hard to get back in the routine of things. I had to get used to having a baby on my, they never want you to put them down. And so you kind of get unfocused. I was very unfocused for a while, but you have to like kick yourself in the butt and say, hey, nobody's going to feel sorry for you. Do what you have to do. So even if no one's giving you an opportunity, I would say create your own lane. I'll share this video with you guys. I actually made a video of how I set up my studio today and how I did everything to get ready for today while having my baby with me, and it's like, it's harder, but you got to do it. And I think that would be the best advice I could give is kind of like, you just can't quit no matter what life throws at you. What's next for me is getting my book out and getting my documentary out. I'm looking to go to a certain radio station here, and we're waiting to see what's going to happen with that. So because of the pandemic, there was a hiring freeze. But, I'll tell you guys about it off air. So I'm waiting for that, and it's looking good. It's looking really good. They've been keeping in contact with me basically to, let me know like, hey, we don't want to let you go anywhere. We just got some pandemic issues.
And I would like to add, Jimmy, I saw firsthand the video of her putting up her equipment with baby in the hand. She was putting up the tripod and baby was right. I had firsthand knowledge of that. Amazing young lady, amazing story.
Man, you wrong with that. Huh? You could have went and grabbed the baby out of her hand.
Jimmy, we practicing social. No, Ciara, this is a new term I want you to use. We're not practicing social distancing. That's what they want us. We're going to practice physical distancing, but we want to be socially connected. You got me? Stay connected socially. And make sure you call me when you get, and you're going to use that. And when people going to say, just let them know where you got it from. So you want to be physically distancing and socially connected. But thank you so much. We can't wait. Make sure you call me later so we can know about your juice that you got going on. All right?
Okay. And we might can help push it through. Yeah, don't get it twisted.
I know. I got you. Okay.
That's the thing. Thanks so much, Ciara. We appreciate it. And girl, we're rooting for you every step of the way. You've done a fantastic job. have, I mean, a beautiful baby girl right there.
Yes.
And guess what? Keep on keeping on.
And
We
push the
got
red
I
button.
will. Thank
Pu-
you.
hey, push the
Y'all
red
have
button when you go off. Yeah.
all
So
right, hey
we can
guys,
bring
and
our
now
new guest on.
Ciara Henry, as
Uh-huh.
you can and you see, I mean, these are what we're doing. We're taking you guys to introduce you,
Uh-huh.
reintroduce some of you
Yes.
to a lot of the former interns that we had at at the radio stations. And understand this thing, we did not rock like we're rocking right now. They helped us help morph us. And understand they were the interns, but on certain days, the next one, she thought she was our mama.
Oh
I,
my
I, I
goodness,
mean,
Jimmy. Jimmy. Jimmy.
I mean, this young one, I mean, the next one is so talented. We got her.
Yes.
She was our intern, but she was so good that the radio station, understand, they had actually got her and hired her for part-time opportunities.
Yeah.
And but at the same time, she did not have her degree, and she could have had the opportunity to go and take on the task of working full time with the Bread of Life, with the St. John's Church,
Yes.
with the Amazing 102.5. But guess what? Say no, 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 no. I'm going for the bigger picture. I'm going to get my degree. And this young lady, of course, started off at SFA and then transferred just like most of the other, all of the previous, for the previous two, went to the HBCU after they realized that the PWIs ain't all it's counting up to be. She came on home to Texas Southern University, and without further ado,
Hold
I
up, Jimmy.
introduced you.
She said the blacker the college, the better the knowledge. That's what she realized.
That's what she said. And this is, guys, you may have heard us talking about her many of times. I think she had the longest tenure of all of the interns that we've had. And this is Heaven Dorsey. You guys remember, this is Heaven. I remember when we first started off, I remember on the show, Hannah, I gave it a nickname. I say, Heaven show ain't hell. And we rolled with it. Do that right there. Welcome to the show, Heaven. What's going on, baby?
What's up, What's up, Hal?
Hey.
This is funny, y'all. Because hey, Jimmy, you got to realize who we talking to today. Hey, it's going to take us a lot to get somebody to heaven today because she is more comfortable with her computer in her hand and when she got that computer, that's her. So Jimmy, I'll let you start it off. Maybe you can get somebody to heaven.
Well, I mean, absolutely. I mean, Heaven, welcome to the Chop Shop, and tell us, of course, you 2020, this pandemic, been one heck of a year. You, especially for your education concept, what's going on with your with your degree plan right now? Tell us, keep us up to speed on that first.
So I am officially graduating in December, finally. But school has been fine. I've just been working from home. That's it. Like, I don't know. Okay.
Uh-oh. I heard that. So now, of course, graduating in December, any updates on the graduation? Is it going to be a virtual or in person?
Well, as of right now, we don't really have any updates for fall semester. Like, they're thinking we're going to be back in school by that time. So, yeah. There's not really any updates as far as fall.
So now let's take us on back. Let the viewers know what high school you came out of and what inspired you to go to SFA and what inspired you to end up at TSU.
Can you say it again?
Our audio might be a little choppy today. What high school did you graduate from out of in high school? What inspired you to go to the college path, SFA, then eventually TSU?
Okay, so I graduated from Madison, and I started off at TSU, and then I ended up transferring to SFA after that because I was just I wanted to go away to school, basically. And then I ended up in Nacogdoches, and I was like, what is this? There's no people. This is one street. I'm ready to go home. And I was coming back and forth already to work at the radio station. Every weekend I was driving down to Houston after class. And then I just ended up transferring because I was already there every weekend.
And what was that like? How did you get on and get connected with the radio station? You know, because that's not easy. As Sierra just said, it's not easy to get an internship.
Well, I started at the radio station with Nettie. Nettie introduced me to Emilian and Kim. And I was just saying, I started out as a psychology major. I didn't have anything to do with communications, although I was always good with computers and stuff like that. So I talked to Emilian, and I ended up being his assistant and stuff like that. And next thing I know, I was doing everybody's show. I don't know. That was basically it.
And so just take for a person that's not understanding, we say doing everybody's show. Take us through some of the things that you did in order to get to help produce a show. Just, I mean, because a lot of people may not understand your skill set as far as that. And this was without, and at the time, what was your classification when you first started working at the radio station?
My classification, I think I was still a freshman. Yeah, I was still classified as a freshman.
So you were a freshman in college, you get this job, and what was your responsibilities and duties? What all did you perform during that time? A lot of people have no earthly idea.
Well, I'm trying to think, what did I not do? I was Emilian's assistant, and then I also produced every show on the station because I was doing every show at the time. I was the board operator, like engineering, producing, editing, recordings, keeping track of the log, like even after the shows, making sure the correct music. Okay, I'm sorry.
Oh, that's you? Okay, I thought it was me. Okay.
You got everybody looking around. Everybody looking around like.
I was finna get my gap, but keep going.
Yeah, I was just producing everybody's shows. I don't know what else to say.
And you know,
that's a lot.
Well, we can talk about it. I mean, seriously, we were amazed that this young lady, because y'all used to hear. I mean, that's why your name became so prevalent in this thing, and I mean, everybody, what heaven, because people don't understand the headaches and the things that can happen when you're doing a live stream, when you're doing a live show. Heaven, I mean, and the internet is not good, and that we had no control of, and people used to text, and guess what, Heaven? I take my hat off to you 1,000,000 times, to all of y'all, because guess what? So those duties are now in my hands, and I had to go, hold up, Heaven, I had to go make sure my IT people rewired the house to make sure that the internet is at a high level. I mean, because I remember the times that the Mevo wouldn't come on. It's just so unique having you. And I watch. See what I did. Thank you, Jesus. I used to sit and watch Heaven. I used to tape her, what she was doing. So I didn't panic. When we left the station and when she left the station, I never panicked. I don't know if y'all realize, Jimmy, we've had 3 major transitions and the Chop Shop has never missed a beat. We never went off the air. We even had Bruh Man from the 5th floor on there. on the air. And guess what? We never, John Newsom, when I go back and look at this history, you remember I tell you to know a man, look at his history. This young lady here helped us so much just understanding my levels. She told me how she had to put my level of my mic up lower because I talk louder than everybody, and she had to put. So I had to learn that. Like if you come look at my sound levels, I got mine set lower than Jimmy's. So it's just stuff I've learned from these young. She might have learned from us, but we grasped a lot from you, and we're so proud of you. And everybody on the Facebook feed love you. We got a new community now that's on the YouTube heaven. Some of them might remember you and some might not. But I just wanted to share that with everybody. What you
Indeed.
got, Jim?
So now, Heaven, you left after the radio station. You end up getting an internship at one of the local TV stations. Tell us about that experience.
So I started working in the investigation unit at ABC 13 with Ted Oberg, and that was different. I was used to producing, but it was different when it came to like actual television. And then, as y'all know, I don't like being like in front.
That's right.
And they put me in front of the camera to try to, just to get a feel of every job. So I got a for what y'all do in front of the camera too, like in front of the camera, in front of the microphone, because it's not for me. It's not for me. I'm comfortable behind and operating everything and producing and saying what needs to happen. This don't look right. This don't sound right. So, but yeah, I got a feel to produce for TV basically, and that was cool. Producing shows that actually went on the news basically.
Hey, Heaven, who was the guy? They just asked the question. Kevin Jones just asked. Heaven, who was the guy who took your place when you were gone? I remember the Boom Boom Room was giving him the business. That was C. I think it was C, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was C.
Yeah.
C got mad one day, man.
They used to tear C head off, man. That Boom Boom Room is y'all are cruel. Hold on. The new ones are a lot better. But those old ones, they were kind of cruel.
They were. I would always know when something was going wrong when I wasn't there because my phone would go crazy. I'd be getting text messages, calls, and I would get on Facebook and have all these notifications like, what is happening?
And so now, Heaven, of course, you're going to graduate in December from TSU. What are you majoring in, graduating in, that is? And tell us about that. What's next?
I'm a double major. I have a major in communication, radio, television, film, and psychology.
Oh Lord.
And psychology. That's intriguing right there. So now what's next? Yeah. Yeah, indeed. What's next for him?
Graduation, and I've been I've been looking for internships out of state because I think I'm going to be moving once I graduate out of state. So, yeah.
You getting out of here?
Yeah, she's trying to get away from me, folks.
Okay.
She gonna get homesick again, just like she was when she was up there at SFA.
That was different. SFA was nothing. I need to be in a city with like stuff.
Okay.
Really?
Like
so,
stuff.
So SFA ain't gonna cut it. Palestine ain't gonna cut it. Or Alexandria, Louisiana ain't gonna cut it for you.
No, I need a city with people in more than one street.
But usually, Heaven, they usually place you, but you trying to be behind camera. If you're trying to be in front of the camera, they usually place you in small market cities so you can learn your way up. But you trying to be behind the camera, you might have a shot. You want to go to LA?
I wouldn't mind going to LA.
Okay.
LA people are different though, but I'm not gonna talk about it too much.
Yeah, we'll talk about that later. My daughter out there.
Man, I mean, so now your experience is unmatched for a young lady, just not even graduated from college, unmatched. So looking back on the journey, what are some of the things you appreciate most for your experience, and who are two of the most influential persons in your young life?
Two of the most influential people in my life. That's hard because I got a lot of people.
That's hard, man.
That's why I said 2 instead of 1.
That's still hard.
And her dad is listening. Her dad is right here on this air right now.
A non-family member
Okay.
to make it easier. Yeah, that's normally when.
Okay. All right.
I mean, you know, when it's been, you know, that your journey, that's a lot of stuff as far as experiences that you just named to us for people to do. You have the equivalent people, and I know it's been tiring and hard. Think about it. You're doing this stuff on an internship. In most cases, you're not getting paid, if at all, much. And the persons that do have those same jobs were making maybe 10 to 20 times your salary. You see?
Yeah.
So that means now somebody had to lift you out of the space, because at one point you may look around and say, man, I'm tired of this stuff, man. They don't, you know, my value. So that's why I asked you about that, about the influential people. But as far as your value, just give some words on, so people can, some words of encouragement for ladies or young ladies out there that are watching, about knowing what their value is and how, if you had to do it all over again, what would you have changed?
I don't think I would have changed anything, because I learned a lot. And I will say the 2 most influential people I would say Emilian White and Kim Gagne, because they taught me a lot. I met them when I was, 18 years old. And I'm talking a lot now. For me, this is talking a lot.
Yes.
But they really taught me a lot. They helped me find my voice in a way, and they pushed me to do a lot. So I really appreciate them. So, yeah.
And we appreciate you. But you know what? I thought you was gonna say, hey, yo, we had coming to the crossroads with the station, and it was a unique person that was. No, I'm not gonna go there. I'm not. Jimmy, your best friend. We don't call no names, but that was one of the funniest weeks. That you remember when all of us had a meeting? We're supposed to have a meeting. That person who we had the meeting with, that was a funny experience. Y'all, that's an inside joke, but one of the most unique weeks, and in I guess in my time doing this show, very, very unique week.
Indeed, man, and we appreciate it, Heaven, and thanks so much for sharing. And this is now you many of you have put the name with the face. And she made several cameos on the Chop Shop. She would walk by during the air or during the broadcast, during commercial breaks or something like that on the radio station. But now you guys get to see her, and this young lady has, just an abundance of talent, and it's unbelievable. All of the experience. When a person sees your resume, they probably will not believe that you have experience on everything on your resume. I can almost assure you that. So your references, you might need to provide more than just 3 references, because you have a ton of expertise, and you're one of the most talented young ladies that I've ever met. So I want you to make sure you don't let nobody push you out of your lane as far as driving the way you're trying to go. I'm telling you, you're young. If you want to go and explore another city, get it on out your system. Get on away from here, like they say on Beverly Hills.
Yes.
But at the same time, do not let anyone take you off course. It's too much talent.
Yeah.
It's too much talent. We look forward to each year to bring all 4 of you young ladies back, and to get every step of the way, so that you can share. That means like a reunion. And I'm looking forward to, because at the point in time, I wouldn't even know. I didn't know. I asked you a question about influential. I didn't know who you was going to say. That wasn't a trap question. And because it's your life. You mentioned Emilian and Kim, and shout out to both of them, because that know those 2. And Kim just spearheaded the food drive and the gift card giveaway with Beyonce's and her mom, Tina Knowles, just last week. Cullen Middle School, North Forest Middle School. They had cars lined up all the way back to Homestead on the northeast side. Just like the other day, they gave away about 500 gift cards with a couple $100 on each one, plus bags of groceries. You got a chance to be around them because that church that housed that old radio station is St. John's Church downtown, which was the home base church for Beyonce and Tina Knowles and her family. So you got a chance we didn't even mention that. You got a chance to do experience with all of them and do in projects with them. That stuff goes on the resume. People damn sure ain't gonna believe who you are.
But and a unique thing about it, Heaven, even how I'm producing this show and what I had to watch you. I don't know nothing about this stuff. If I don't, that's why I text you and ask you about certain things. If it wasn't for you young ladies, y'all don't, like I said, I learned from y'all just as Jimmy and I wasn't as tech savvy as this. This is I'm gonna put it like this, Heaven. This is like what I'm doing now is likened to the Super Bowl. Let's say we're at the Super Bowl. And you see the game is going on in the Super Bowl. Do y'all see them big trucks that be parked outside of the Super Bowl? This control room that Heaven and helped me do, it determines what y'all see out there in the public. The game is going on at Jimmy's place, at my place, and at Heaven's day. But this software controls what comes to the people out there. And I thank you for just building the building blocks for me to be able to, and Jimmy, to be able to produce this show, without you. The marks of a great leader, always remember this, are people who make other leaders. Great leaders don't make other followers. If you led well because I followed you. So you were a great leader because great leaders. Now I am leading in this. So guess what? I'm going to be teaching our new interns how to do this and what I learned from you. So thank you so much. We love you. And anything you can do, you just pick up the phone. We got you.
Thank y'all.
Got you covered like a quilt. That's what I'm talking about. Indeed, man. That is Heaven Dorsey, guys. And remember that name, Heaven Dorsey, because I have the feeling not only just her, you just met the other two. Yeah. And you can see that Sierra and Nicole, they're going to be in front of the camera.
Yeah.
Heaven
might be in front of the camera. Hold on. See, them shy people that be shy at first, Jimmy, I'm telling you, them the ones you have to watch out for too.
But at the same time, Heaven is comfortable dressing like that. So being in front of the camera, Heaven comfortable.
Like what? What are you saying?
I'm just saying, so that she's cool with the hoodie on. So to be in front of that camera, she got to go to makeup, go to do all this other stuff, go to do all that stuff. She ain't trying to do all that.
Jimmy, evidently you haven't been following her on social media. That's evidently you have not been following her on social media.
What's your social media tag, Heaven, so people can follow?
Jimmy.
I'm not telling y'all.
Jimmy.
We know Darrell Anderson probably already have it.
Jimmy, let me tell you something. Jimmy, I think she has evolved. I'll put it like that. Evolved. That's a good word.
You better sit down somewhere. You better not be out there with them little sprouty clothes on.
Hey, Heaven.
You out there doing that stuff.
Hey, Heaven, when we take you off the air, make sure you push the red button, and we'll see you later. I'll holler at you later. Okay?
Please.
Right.
Thanks so much. This is Heaven Dorsey, guys, and of course that's the third of our fourth female intern that we're going to introduce you guys with and share, and let you guys get a chance to, I guess, to put the name with the face, and we did them in pretty much in chronological order as to their time with us.
Yes.
And next up is a young lady whom we met a couple of years ago. We put out the notice on the radio station, and as we are doing now, if you have a college student, not be a student athlete, a college student whom are aspiring to major in communication, sports broadcasting, journalism, etc. And they, while they're at home during this COVID, are interested in doing an internship with the Chop Shop. We want to keep the candles burning. So send us an email with that person's info and their brief educational resume to chopshophtx@gmail.com. That's chopshophtx@gmail.com. Send us an email because we are in the process and we're going to start interviews, virtual interviews, within the next week. So if you once again, somebody that must be a college student, and if they're interested in doing an internship, we'll look over their stuff and possibly make the cut. We'll interview them. And guess what? This is a great opportunity, as you guys can see, proof to this platform that the Chop Shop has provided for these young ladies. And coming up next is what I mentioned earlier, young lady we just met about a couple of years ago. And she too, you thought Heaven, understand, we had two mamas. Heaven thought she was our mama at the radio station.
Oh, yes.
So we left 102.5 FM, right? 102. Then we went to, what's the other station? 101.
I can't remember them 101. I can't remember them 101.
Station, I done got 10.
I don't know, Jimmy. Jimmy, I don't look in the past. I don't look in the rearview mirror that much. Hey.
I can't remember. Oh, 102.5, then 101 point something. I don't know, on the FM dial. And so at that station, Dorian.
101.5. 101.5.
101.5? Yeah, that's it. We had so many. I don't remember the AM stations numbers. Kind Radio, KYND. I know that's the call symbols. I don't remember the number on the station.
1520.
1520. Okay, on AM. That's what we started off at, and with the Chop Shop, and now we ended up the last radio station, and that was 101.5 FM. Absolutely, I remember it now. I remember saying it so much on the radio station. But Dorian Branch, this young lady, she came and as a referral, same way I just sent we just gave you guys the email address, and we met her. She was a first baller that was an active baller. So she was a student athlete when she met us. Yeah. So this was different territory because I was playing, at first we tried to make it work and it would not work the first go round because the college coach gave her a summer schedule that would have conflicted totally with the Chop Shop.
Yeah.
And then she came back the following year and was like, hey, I'm on it. Hey, guys, hold that spot for me because I'm going to make sure my class ain't going to conflict with the Chop Shop because I want to get this experience. And we did. And we followed. Here she is. We used to we came up with the nickname Dodo. You guys heard us say Dodo so many times on the air, but her name is Dorian Branch. She's a student athlete who's played and starred at basketball for the women's team at University of Houston. Now, Dorian is also 2020 is a year of her college graduation. First of all, tell us about that. Welcome to the Chop Shop, Dorian. Tell us about this graduation. When is yours taking place? I see you smiling already.
What up, dope?
H-Town, what's up?
Hey, you know what time it is.
My graduation was supposed to be last Friday, but right now they're saying that it's going to be at the end of August with the summer graduates. So that's the plan right now. However, I don't plan on walking at that time. So my graduation pass, that's it.
I saw your little graduation pictures and all of y'all was taking. Was y'all practicing social distancing while y'all was taking those pictures, Dorian?
Absolutely. You didn't see my photographer in the camera.
Yeah, but I felt like it was some more people around there. I just felt like there was about 20-some people around there. No, Yeah, but Dorian, I would like to ask you. I'm gonna start off at the top because before Jimmy, what I love about it, you got the Jet Anderson. What's his name?
Jason Terry.
Jason Terry. Jason Terry came on the show, and I saw where you have a current personal podcast, and he was one of your guests on the show, and it's just so unique. When I see that, when I know when Jimmy saw, but when I saw it, it just made me so proud that I know you used to sit around and watch us. You used to say these two, you know, and just me listening to your show and watching your show, you took a little bit from him and you took a little bit from me, and that makes you. That's just like a proud papa seeing his kids grow up and emulate them. So I salute to you. I'm proud of it, and you can tell people about your podcast a little bit more about it if you want to.
Well, the podcast is called Off the Court with Dorian, and that started with Off the Court with Doro, which was my nickname whenever I was playing at the University of Houston. And with Off the Court with Doro, the video department wanted to like get to know other players on the team, so my other teammates, and they wanted me to interview them because I knew extra information about them and because that was my major. So they were trying to help me get reps in. And so whenever I started this podcast, I'm like, well, I'm not playing basketball anymore, so I want to use my real name. And so that's when I came up with Off the Court with Dorian. So that show, I air episodes every Wednesday, every Sunday. I have a special guest on every episode, and it's at 6 p.m. and it's on all podcast platforms, which is Apple Music, Spotify, the Anchor app. So anything you listen to your podcast on, Off the Court with Dorian is the show to go listen to.
There you go. That's what I'm talking about.
Hold on, Jimmy. Hold on. Okay.
Yeah, I see you getting up in that now, of course. So now, we'll get you this question early instead of later. You're graduating, this month, right?
Well, I already graduated. It was last Friday.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And so now, what's next? Because you're not going to just let this stop right here. You're going to keep on pushing in your field, right?
Yeah.
What's next?
Well, unlike the other girls that came on here, I'm a broadcast journalism major, but I don't actually necessarily want to be on camera, do the sports show thing, or like make my own documentaries and stuff. And so I'm more interested in like the sports business side of things, which is if I would have known that a little bit earlier, then that might have been my major. But I'm grateful for my major because it helped me be able to talk. It helped me be able to learn how to build relationships, and the stuff that y'all know how to do on the computer and everything, I learned how to do as well. And so whenever I switch over to this other side, which is the sports side of business, I'll be able to do other stuff like the branding part of things and marketing for myself to where I won't have to depend on somebody else to do that for me.
You heard that, didn't you?
I'm listening.
Now, tell us, of course, now, what made you, of course, you played ball at Hoops at U of H, and you came over and did the internship. What inspired you? Was that something that you needed for credits, or you needed for your curriculum, or just something that you wanted, you felt inside you wanted to do? What inspired that?
Well, y'all know that the coach that recruited me, Coach Tanya, when she was working at the University of Houston, she used to work with you all, and I used to see that she used to have so much fun with you guys, and I used to watch the show back then. So whenever she left the show, and that first time when I had emailed you asking could I be an intern on the show, but my schedule was too busy, that was because of Coach Tanya. So then I asked Coach Tanya again, well, the next summer, do you think that they'll still allow me to come and do the internship? And just working on my speaking, which is what I wanted to do, which is why I came to work with y'all, is something that I wanted. And so that's what inspired me to come and do the show with you all. But then being able to learn all the other stuff that we were doing behind the scenes helped a lot with other things as well.
Yeah. You know what's so, I'll tell you what's so funny, Dorian. Some people have been listening to our conversations. Coach Todd Holmes just said, does she want to be an agent? Todd Holmes just asked you that question.
Uh-huh.
Good question. Go and answer it for him.
Well, yeah, and actually, me and Mr. Hatter had a whole talk about it, and I'm just really trying to get started up in it. And there's no one better to look at to be able to be a mentor for me than Mr. Hatter. And so we're getting started on that road for sure.
Okay, so you're gonna go out there and get them. You're gonna
Yes,
get them.
sir. Yes, sir. Hey, not just get them. Hey, she gonna make them rich. Then she gonna make them wealthy, and then she gonna recycle it and do it again. She gonna rinse and repeat again. That's what she's gonna do. Yeah.
And so now, what was it like being a student athlete, and then doing an internship? Because once you started doing it, you also did it during the season.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Well, making that change, adding something else to the schedule that's already so busy and that's always so monitored and set and everything, it was hard at first, and which is why I couldn't work with y'all the first summer, because I had classes during the time that the show goes. So this past summer, it was hard because I had to do like my workouts either extra early, or I had to come to the show and then be trying to do workouts later after the show. So just making that adjustment was probably the hardest thing. And then the internship that I do during the school year is with the athletic video department, and that's just filming stuff during the sports games. That's cutting clips behind the scenes, that's editing the clips. So doing all the stuff with Adobe Premiere and Audition, Photoshop, trying to learn all those things. So that's what I do during the school year. And they really work with me. They're really flexible with my schedule. They know I'm a student athlete, and so they didn't really hold things against me. So having y'all during the summer and then going on to work with them, it was definitely two totally different things, but y'all helped me so much in different ways.
And speaking of helping you,
Mm-hmm.
and the internship and going back to class with all that experience you got,
Mm-hmm.
what was it like with some of your classmates after you? So you already the big woman on campus. You're one of the leading scorers at University of Houston,
Mm-hmm.
women's basketball, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so then you're doing this internship. Now you think you all of that. So I mean, did you get that? What was the sentiment from your peers as you're doing this?
Well, at the University of Houston, there's not like a whole lot of hate whenever it comes to the communications part of the school. So broadcast journalism majors especially. So I had a really good friend who's a male. He also did the same major as me. And so whenever I got stuff from y'all, or whenever I got stuff from the other internship, which we actually did that one together, we were able to help each other out. And so that's really what it's all about, is being able to still network, which is like the most important thing that I learned in college, is networking. So being able to network and help each other was basically, they weren't hating or anything, but me being able to do stuff on my own, they're just like, well, how did you learn that? Or how'd you learn how to talk so well and stuff like that? And I just always say, I did these internships while I was in college, so that helped me a lot.
And Dorian, I like to add, you attended a lot of some leadership stuff out of town. I mean, everybody didn't go on those trips. I don't know that exactly. And I remember you at the CAA. I mean, the CAA conference championship when y'all was at the conference media day or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I remember when you took pictures and you met with Penny. And he by the way, he told me he remember you. And
Mm-hmm.
so those the kind of relationships you were building back then. What about that leadership conference that you went to? That was unique. I want to know about that a little bit.
Okay, well, that was a conference with the Senior Women's Associates, which is like the position underneath the athletic director in our conference that I know for sure. I'm not sure if the other conferences have that position. But so at our school, the Senior Women's Associate handles all the women's sports, and the athletic director, he handles all the men's sports. And so when I went to that conference, and it was in Wichita last year, but every year it changes and it goes to a different city from a school in the conference. They go and they talk about things that are like next year and up until 5 years after that. So where the conference championships are going to be held, some laws that are trying to be passed in the upcoming years, or like right then and there. So they're voting on that. They're talking about each law in depth. And I mean, it was 3 days like full of me sitting in a room listening to them talk about all that stuff. And that experience is only one person is chosen to go to that. And so with me being in SAC, which is the Student Athlete Advisory Committee for my school, I'm the president for that committee. But then for the conference, I was on the exec board, and I was the public relations person for that. That's why they asked me to be able to go. And I guess that my senior women's associate, which is Miss Dewana Chiser, she voted me to go to the conference. And that's how I was able to go there, learn all of those things. And then that really also kind of played a part in me wanting to be in the business side of sports as well.
I mean, your experience that you managed to accumulate while going to college, unlike the other young ladies, your entire college was free.
Mm-hmm.
So
Nicole's was free too.
Well, yeah, Nicole's was free. Yeah. I mean, athletic scholarship. Yeah, Nicole didn't pay a dime either.
Mm-hmm.
So now, tell us what's the hardest part of this? Because it's not easy. So the people out there watching, let's get the real out there. What's the hardest point? Was there ever a boiling point where you say, you know what? I don't know if I want to do this, or I don't know if I want to play basketball. I just want to do this. What was that moment that you almost got off the track? And who was the person that rubbed off your lens and say, no, get back on the horse, honey, and let's keep riding? What was that?
Well, I would say the hardest part is just managing your time. And it's just like when your schedule is so packed, it gets overwhelming. And then when you're trying to also make good grades in school, then it just takes a really big toll on you. So I think with me trying to do all the extra stuff, I was kind of like getting a little bit off when it came to basketball. So I wasn't doing all these extra workouts that I was doing in the past and stuff like that. So I think just adjusting to that moment, telling my coach, like, hey, man, I'm trying to do stuff that's going to help me for my future. I think that was probably the most difficult part. And the person that I could say that, always helped me with that is, of course, like my mother and my brother, because those are the two people that I talk to the most. But then also Coach Justice, who is now the head coach at Sam Houston for Sam Houston State women's basketball program, because she recruited me to the University of Houston. And just because she left to go be a head coach before I actually got to the school, that's probably the coach that I have the best relationship with in all of the NCAA coaches. And so she always kept me on track. She told me when I was wrong and when I was doing things a little out of order. So the main thing that I just wanted to do is try and keep things in order with my coach, knowing that I was trying to pursue other things while also trying to be the best student athlete that I can be, and then adjusting to the time management things with such a busy schedule.
And indeed, and I mean, I can only imagine, and I'm watching you get it, like workouts, got to go do personal workouts, practice, shoot drills, internship. I mean, it's like, whoa, man, homework, a test next week, So now, speaking of basketball, tell us about what high school you graduated from, where you from, and how did you end up? Well, of course, you just gave us a teaser of the coach that recruited you to U of H. And tell us where you come from and what was the moment. What did that coach say to convince you that I'm going to U of H?
Well, okay, so I was originally born in Georgia. We moved to Dallas whenever I was 8 years old. So I went to Richardson High School, which is in Richardson, Texas, it's the next city over from Dallas. So it's just in North Dallas. And so whenever I was going through the recruiting process, the University of Houston was actually the first school that offered me a full scholarship. And who was on that staff whenever they were recruiting me was Coach Huey, which is still the head coach, Coach Ty, Coach Raven Justice, who's the head coach at Sam Houston State now, and Coach Tanya, who used to work with y'all and is now married to Coach Sampson's son, Kellen. And so whenever I went on my visit and that's the time that I really knew that this school was the school for me, just because of the campus, just because of the things that they had to offer, the fact that the communication school was a good school, and not just the communication school, but all of their schools are good programs. And so that really helped me make the decision. But then also going away from my family, but not being too far to where they can't support me a lot. And then also the rest of my family lives in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. And so that's only 4 hours away from Houston as well. And then we have Tulane on our schedule as well, so they were able to come to that game every time we played them. So just being a good enough distance away from my family to where they could support me the most, going to a good program academically, and then also going to an athletic program to where I knew I could come in and I could play and I can try and help turn that program around.
And that's awesome. And while at U of H, of course, tell us your career. Tell us your average. What's your,
give us some accolades.
Oh my goodness. Well, I don't know my actual average, and for everybody to know, I'm now retired. But I did reach the 1,000-point club while I was at the University of Houston, and then if I can remember correctly, I think I'm like top 5 in like assists, and then 3-pointers made. And so that's just a few things. And I had postseason honors. I got second team all conference. But I'm not here to brag about my basketball accolades. You know, that's the past. That's the past now. That's the past now.
No. But I got a question. You said top 5 in assists. That means top 5 this season?
No, I think in total program history.
Nah.
Say
you like talking about this stuff, Jimmy. See, Jimmy, you like to be like Jay-Z. Some people don't like her rap ain't like that. She the cool rapper. She gonna let you talk about what she do. She don't like to talk about what she did.
Hey, remember, for every song, there's an instrumental version. So she can play it, I'll rap over. Remember that. For every song, we got an instrumental version. So I can flow with the same way. Now, as a result of your playing basketball combined with your internship with us at 101.5 FM last couple of years, it enabled you to also branch off and meet the good people over with the Robert Horry Sports Medicine and Rehab.
And shout out to Mr.
St. Joseph's Hospital.
Yeah.
And you tell us what that relationship ended up yielding.
Well, I met Mr. Smith at the back to school drive that you hosted. It was at the barbecue place. I can't remember the name of the place. Yeah, and so that's where I actually met Mr. Smith, and that was just off of a little conversation. He didn't know what I was trying to get into or anything of that sort. We just talked. He gave me his card. So, like I said earlier, with me being the Student Athletic Advisory Committee president, we focus on mental health awareness. And with him working at the hospital, he was able to come and he was able to talk about Robert Horry Sports Medicine, which is like, physical therapy and that kind of thing. And then he also introduced me to a lady. I can't remember the exact organization that they're with, but they came and spoke, and they had a former student athlete that came and spoke about OCD, while Mr. Smith came and spoke about the Robert Horry Sports Medicine. And so that gave people like other outlets outside of the school to be able to talk to and to be able to communicate. Because as student athletes, whenever you're having mental health issues or whenever you're having problems like that, you're not always comfortable talking about that on campus or with your coaches or with your teammates. And so with them having the opportunity to talk to people that were not on campus and had no affiliations to the University of Houston, whenever it came to that sort of thing, that just gave a lot of other people the extra opportunity for that.
Wow.
Man, I'm just looking back and I'm thinking, I'm reflecting back.
Me too.
Me too. And you mentioned you retired, so no going overseas.
No.
Any offers or anybody that tried to solicit you to go and continue your basketball career professionally?
Well, of course. I mean, there's agents that you get that just like randomly follow you, and then they want to talk about basketball. But I just told them, like, I'm sorry, I'm not looking forward to that, in my future. And then you have people that do like pro women's combines and stuff like that in April. And then like during the season, there were combines that were emailing my coaches, and they were forwarding me the emails to be able to do that for the overseas scouts and agents to be able to come and watch me. But I had already made up my mind during the season, well, even before the season, that that's not something that I wanted to do long term. And so I was just able to cut all of that out, whenever they were hitting me up during the season and after the season. Yeah, go ahead.
I got a question. Chuck McGowan,
Okay.
he's on the YouTube feed, and he had a unique question. Were you burned out on basketball?
I wouldn't necessarily say that burned out is the reason why I don't want to continue, but like the other, like Sierra said earlier, just knowing that you're not going to go to the WNBA, so overseas would be the only option. And then with going overseas, once again, I'm going to be missing all of this time with my family and missing all these holidays with my family that I've already missed for the last 4 years. And before that, playing travel ball, I missed all the summers and cruises and stuff. We weren't able to do all that stuff. So I was just like ready to be in the workforce so that I can be able to have set schedules and stuff like that, to where I can be able to spend the quality time with my family that I've been wanting for so long.
And that is definitely a good thing. Family is important. And share with us, of course, you being out of the state from your parents.
Mm-hmm.
You have your family, immediate family in Baton Rouge,
mm-hmm.
and the rest of your family, of course, in the Dallas area and in Georgia.
Mm-hmm.
So how is that? How do you being so far away from mama?
Yeah, well, my mom now actually moved back to Atlanta because of her job. So going into my senior year, she had to move back to Atlanta. But I have my brother, and he's in Austin. So he was always able to support me when she couldn't. But I have one of those mothers that's not going to miss very many big moments. So even throughout the season, most of the weekend games that we did have, she still flew down. And even if that was for one day, she flew down for that one day to come to the game, just so that I can know that I always would have somebody there to support me. And that's what I cherish most about my entire family, my mom's friends, herself, my brother, the people that he hangs around. Like, I always knew that I would have somebody at the game supporting me. And then I mainly knew that I would especially even have like immediate family coming to support me as well.
That's so unique you say that, Dodo. You got me thinking about it. Because
Mm-hmm.
when a lot of these kids, they want to get away, want to go,
Mm-hmm.
but they don't understand how it feels after the game's over and everybody's parents are coming, to join them, and they don't have no family there. And that's one of the reasons people just say, man, I didn't have nothing to do. No, I had planned every game my son had. If it wasn't a blizzard, I was going to be there because I knew everybody else wasn't able to be in those situations. He had 28 games a year. I averaged 26 of them. It was a year or two. They had that big nor'easter up there that I couldn't get into those cold weather cities. And then it was one time, Dorian, I got locked in for 2 weeks and couldn't leave the city because of snow, and got a chance to spend it. So a young kid was determining whether he should go here or go to Baylor or go to here or go to Texas. And all I said was, look, dude, if you had almost 200 people following you after the game, Dory. Yeah, with people after the game. That's not going to be there. You go to Auburn.
Yeah.
You go to Waco, everybody can get on the road. So that's a very, very important point. And I do want to add that I owe a lot to you, too, for this program that we're using now. You know, I gave Heaven her a credit, but if you don't go and get this other program that we had before this one and try to learn, because program was a little too hard for me. And you sit there and you tried and you mastered it. And what I did, y'all, I was trying to study that system she was under. So in my studying, I found out it's a better way. And so I thank you for holding us down, because guess what? that was a transitional moment. Because guess what, Dory? We were left hanging there for a minute. And if you weren't able to come in and do that thing, we're not going to talk about what happened behind the scenes. I know she's laughing about it. But if you don't be able to work that system, we would be in trouble. So I made a vow, ladies and gentlemen. I was going to learn everything that day. I said I was going to learn everything that everybody is doing in this place. And I thank you so much for helping us with that transition, because, I mean, you gave me the nod that said, Mr. Hatter, you can do this. And then when I learned, I went a little bit further, a little bit further. Yes, so thank you so much, because I'm telling you, y'all, I was nervous than a hooker in church. I didn't know what was going on. I didn't know all them buttons and stuff you got to push, but thank you so much. But Jimmy, what else you got?
Well, lastly, we want to give the audience and give you a chance to show the audience, not only you, we know you're a basketball player, but we want to give them a chance to hear you with your evaluation skills. So by the University of Houston this year, of course, the boys program stole a lot of the thunder, being in the top 25 for most of the season, right? For the third year in a row. Boys won, I think, 23 games this season, and it just appeared to be putting it all together. And so tell us about this past season. Some of the players on the boys, some of your classmates and peers, who take us through some of those players and who shined and what did they do and what can they do and and on the court.
Well, first of all, I want to say that Coach Sampson is an excellent coach. And then his assistant coaches and the people that work on his staff as well are excellent recruiters. And he just knows exactly how to put all the pieces together. And that's just being honest. And so with us sharing the basketball facility, which only the women's basketball team and the men's basketball team has, we're actually able to get a relationship with the men's basketball team. I mean, however, everybody doesn't do that. But since I talk so much, that makes me grow closer to them. And so I think that on the men's side, the freshmen are definitely going to be good next season. So that's Caleb and Marcus. And then, of course, you have Nate, who entered the draft, and Deaky and Dejan Giroux that entered the draft. But I hope that they go through the process and then they come back if they don't hear a good word, because I think that they'll really help the team. But then I also know that they have good players that are coming in as freshmen. And although I do know one thing is that Coach Sampson really doesn't trust his freshmen easily, I think that they're good enough players to where they'll be able to come in and they'll be able to make a change on the team. So then, I mean, they only had one senior, which is Chris Harris, the center, who, I mean, he catch alley-oops every game that left. And so, I mean, with him being the only senior that left, they're bringing back the same team. They've been top 25 for the past 3 years. They have great recruits coming in this season. I mean, they're going to continue that trend. They're going to go deep in the NCAA tournament next year for sure, because they have Coach Sampson behind them.
Indeed. Hey, there you have it, guys. Hit the clap.
No.
There you go. Give us some horns.
Yeah.
Dorian, we appreciate you, and we are definitely proud of you and your short journey, which is far further to go. We are with you all the way. We're going to get you back, and you along with the other 3 young ladies back with us again a year from now. And we want to, and every year we want to see and make sure that the people see the growth. So that means now you got to, on your mark, get set, go. You have 364 days to go and get it on. So you have something different to tell us and share with us about your journey. Make sure you utilize all of your skills and keep that resume updated, because bright things are going to transpire for you. People got a chance to hear you talk, and they got a chance to see you, and now they understand you or a little bit about you. So lastly, won't you share with them the podcast that you host and how they can watch it weekly.
Okay, well, the podcast name again is Off the Court with Dorian, and I release episodes every Wednesday and every Sunday at 6 p.m. sharp. Like 6 p.m. is going out there, and you can listen to it on all podcast platforms, but that includes Apple Music, that includes Spotify, and that's the Anchor app as well. And thank y'all so much. Mr. Jimmy and Mr. Hatter gonna be on the show soon, so when y'all see that get pubbed out there, then that means y'all really gotta listen to it.
Oh yeah, we got to be on. But we, like we said, we thank you so much, and Jimmy, I mean, we say that, I mean, you say the best for last, and
Thank y'all.
we can't wait to see what you're gonna unleash on this world. A matter of fact, all four of y'all. Unique young women, man, on Women Rock Wednesday. Jimmy, I used to wonder.
Rock Wednesday.
Yeah, I used to wonder why we doing. I know I love women. I got 5 sisters, so we Women Rock Wednesday. But now, let me tell you something. We are beginning to see the fruits of our labor by having young, powerful young women that's going to be leaders. Yeah, they're going to be leaders in that industry, whatever the industry they're in, and anything we can do. And remember your network. Keep your network and use your network. It's very, very valuable. That's the value of, that's what Jay-Z uses, his network. Use your network to your advantage. A lot of kids don't. Man, I don't want, man, you got some very, very powerful, valuable people in your phone, in your contact list. Remain and keep a relationship with those people, and I'm telling you, it's so important. Your network is going to determine later on your net worth. So keep that inside of you. If you don't never remember nothing else, keep that inside of you.
And
Jimmy?
hey, great job, and thanks so much, guys, for you who have tuned in to the Chop Shop today. Mm-hmm. We have one last question, of course. I want to get that in. Chuck asked, Dorian, how do you think Chennedy Carter would do in the WNBA?
Well, it's funny that he asked that because I've actually known Kennedy since I started playing AAU, and we actually played on DFW Elite together. Oh. So she's going to do what she needs to do whenever it comes to the WNBA. I mean, she's unstoppable on offense. I think the most important thing is that she just remains open to listening to the veterans that she's going to play with and be a team player at the end of the day. And I think she will flourish in the city of Atlanta playing with the Atlanta Dream because it's just a perfect fit for her.
That's it. Last words of encouragement for anybody out there watching and you know, any player, student, athlete, student, even a parent that's watching right now. What's your last words of encouragement?
For me?
Yeah.
Well, what Mr. Hatter said, I mean, and that's to people that are listening, if you have kids or if you're a coach, influencer, whatever you do, make sure that you tell them that networking is important because whenever it comes down to it, you can have whatever degree you have, right, Mr. Hatter? But if you don't know how to talk, if you don't know how to actually do the job, then you're not going to be successful in it anyway.
Yeah. Now, that's pretty much it. I mean, thanks so much again.
Wow.
And want to let you guys know that, you know, I don't know, Nilsa has been messing with y'all all the show. It wouldn't give in. And Dodo, you might remember we got on to 101.5. Heaven, and she's still watching right now. You know, that was a certain song that would come on. And that song come on, and I can't give you much because we know we're on the Facebook feed. They might do what they do, but I'm gonna give y'all a little bit. I'm doing it in my chair.
Get us cut off, man.
Yeah, no problem.
And we up out here. It's time to slide on down Dino's back and yabba dabba do this thing. Yeah, yeah. We up out here, guys. Peace, man. See you guys tomorrow in Chop Shop. Thanks so much. Make sure you share the show. Hopefully Facebook don't chop us off for that stuff. But we got the YouTube. They can do what the hell they want. We up out here. Chop Shop.
Jim Hicks, Rob Hatter, you are now tuned in to the chop shop. I'm retro. Let's get it. We in the chop shop, we live in the chop shop. We talking sports talk, we live in the chop shop. We in the chop shop, I'm talking sports talk. So turn your dials up, it's live in the chop shop. We in the chop shop, we live in the chop shop. We talking sports talk, we live in the chop shop.